You know what, after watching this movie I sort of think, how did anyone get anything done in the 80s? There were so many drugs! American Made is directed by Doug Liman, stars Tom Cruise, and is the real story of a man called Barry Seal, a former airline pilot who then manages to work for the CIA, whilst also on the side, due to his own doings, actually ends up smuggling drugs into Miami and other parts of America with the infamous Pablo Escobar. It can only go pretty good, right? When I first saw the thoroughly entertaining trailers for this movie, I thought, yes, finally, another good Tom Cruise movie that I can sink my teeth into. For me personally, it has been a while, so when I sat down, I really hope I'd enjoy it, and thankfully, this did not disappoint. Now, I did like this movie, and I like Tom Cruise. As I said, I don't think he's done much good the last few years, but I do enjoy his movies. But for me, this movie wasn't about Tom Cruise. It wasn't about, let's see how far he can run and do his own stunts. This was truly, for me, a story-based movie. I was enthralled and excited and amazed at how much the real Barry Seal got away with. He did so much that now would be considered treason, terrorism, whatever. It was incredible how much the man could get away with, and that just led me through this whole movie. What will he do next? What can he do next? What will the CIA ask him to do? What will Pablo Escobar want him to do? And what he actually in real life did ask him to do. It's incredible to think that this wasn't that long ago. It's set between 1979 and 1986. That's it. It's not that long ago since all this happened. It was amazing to think, and it really had me going the whole way through. That's not saying that I didn't enjoy Tom Cruise's performance. I totally did. You could tell that he really invested into Barry Seal's life, and he studied him and studied his mannerisms and his accent, and I really did enjoy that. But as I said before, it's been a really long time since I've seen a good Tom Cruise movie. One of my favourites of his is Edge of Tomorrow. Now, personally, I think he was overshadowed by Emily Blunt in that movie, but he was still amazing in that film. This one, maybe not as good, but it's certainly up there. He really did work on his characterisation to make Barry Seal, for anyone who doesn't know about him, come to life on screen. And it was really, you could really tell and really feel his investment while watching the movie. Now, the real Barry Seal was, of course, an airline pilot, so he needed to fly a plane to deal with his contraband. So you're going to see a lot of flying. If you do see this movie, you're going to see a lot of flying of small aircraft. And you think, are they going to do CGI? Are they going to let people fly planes? Are they going to really let you invest in this? And yes, they do. There is no CGI. It is all practical effects. And I love that, because you could actually feel it is the real Barry Seal doing what he does. And they obviously tell some real story of how he got away from people like the DEA trying to track him down for working for the two major corporations that he was working for at the time, which also led on to the plot. You just think, how did he even deal with them? These huge people weren't scaring him, and he was just in a small plane. But it totally invested you from when he was on the ground doing his dealings or being with his children and his wife to being in the air. It all flowed really, pardon the pun, it all flowed really seamlessly together with all practical effects. Now, maybe that was Tom Cruise's idea. I don't know about that yet. I always find out things afterwards, but I really do think that that really helped the story flow very well. Now, another thing I also loved is, yeah, the movie is set in the 1980s, as I've told you before. They really utilised that, whether it being with its soundtrack of obviously classic 80s tunes, but they also have a heavy use of VHS style filmmaking. It is actually an integral part of the story, and it becomes its narrative as you eventually figure it out. I really enjoyed that. It really sets you back in time, that you don't get all these fancy IMAX shots or whatever. It heavily relies on a video style, the sort of really off-centre, jiggling, horrible. As you know, if you're a 90s kid like me, you know the video style I'm talking about. I really enjoyed that. It really worked for the movie and helped with the narrative of what he was telling you, and it helped with the narrative to take you back in time. This movie is really weird because you're rooting for essentially a criminal, a bad guy, a drug smuggler, someone who is against the law, yet he's working for a corrupt law system. It tells you that even if there's a man in uniform, doesn't mean you can necessarily trust him. But he of course is also working for one of the most infamous drug dealers in history, Pablo Escobar. So yeah, you're rooting for the bad guy, but everyone around him is just as bad, if not 1,000 times worse. It's such a cool way to keep you invested and keep you rooting for the wrong people, but for the right way. Such a strange feeling, but one that I really didn't complain about in my head. Maybe it's down to Tom Cruise's acting, but mainly I think it is down to the story itself. Guys, with all this being said, I did enjoy this movie, but strangely not for the calibre of Tom Cruise, but for the incredible story of Barry Seal. If you just Google his name, just please look up the story of the man. It is an incredible life of what he managed to do, and who he managed to do it with is just quite frankly amazing. And for that reason I give American Made a 3 out of 5. Well, that's my take on American Made, guys. Now please, if you have seen the movie, please let me know what you think. Don't forget to follow me on all the social networks. Click that like button, click that subscribe button. You know the drill, and I'll see y'all on the next video.